HTV News. I'm Holly Carter. The numbers are officially in and Henderson students are shattering records. Henderson's enrollment has been on the rise in recent years, and this year the numbers are astonishing. The total count of freshmen for this fall semester stands at 827 students, 14 more than last fall. The junior class also increased by 30 students, while the senior class increased by 66 students. The rising numbers brings Henderson's overall enrollment to just under 3,800 students. But perhaps more interesting than that are where these students are coming from. Not surprisingly, the majority of these students come from right here in Clark County. Garland County came in second, with Hot Spring County in third. Also accounted for in the data are the most popular majors across campus. Taking the title is early childhood education, followed by biology and then business administration. Nursing, physical education, and aviation round out the top 6 most popular majors. The only accredited aviation program in the state of Arkansas is right here at Henderson. Right after the break, HTV's Juan Morgan brings us the latest on the new presidential search. Stay tuned. Welcome back to HTV News. After the resignation of former university president Dr. Charles Welch, Henderson has failed to find a valid replacement. As of last week, the initial presidential search has been thrown out and a new one has been put into place. HTV's Juan Morgan has the latest.
After a failed attempt last semester, Henderson State University is proud to announce that a new search for president has begun.
On August 18th, the Board of Trustees held forums for Henderson's faculty and staff. The forums gave everyone the opportunity to vent all frustrations about the last presidential search.
Some of the younger faculty and also some of the staff were worried that they might face penalties in their job if they said anything negative about administration or negative about the board. And so the idea at these forums is this is a safe place where anyone can speak their mind and no names are taken down.
The forums were conducted by former Henderson employee Dr. William Shelton. Not only did he explain the flaws in the last presidential search, but he demonstrated how it should be run in the future.
The first thing he mentioned was that we started in the winter and expected to have somebody by the summer. And he said that's way too short a time period for an effective presidential search. He said so it was kind of stacked against us from the beginning.
Although they are in the beginning stages of the new search, faculty and staff left the forums feeling refreshed and optimistic about the future.
I came to those forums hoping that the Board of Trustees would work to improve the process. And the process worked. We had open communication, and now they've got a whole new process, and I think the search will be run the right way this year.
I'm Juan Morgan for HTV News.
Interim President Bobby Jones will remain in charge until a replacement is found. Henderson recently started a new after-school program for students in the area. Kindergarten through 12th graders are invited to join the new art program right here at Henderson. It will take place 2 days a week through the week of November 10th. Art education students here at Henderson will be teaching the courses, which are $10 per class plus art materials. For more information, contact Teresa Jester at 870-230-5036. When we come back, our political reporter Brooke Harrod updates us on the student government election. Stay tuned.
You will grow up someday. You will get a job. You will be working. What do you want to be when you grow up?
back to HTV News. The billions of dollars used to bail out companies over the past year has proved to be a flop. The California-based solar panel company Solyndra has received over $500 million of taxpayer funds. The company, after receiving the funds, filed for bankruptcy. The presidential candidate Herman Cain offered his advice by saying the government should not pick winners or losers, because most of the time they pick losers. He also said that the government should have loaned the money in good faith, and the administration could have pulled the plug when it became apparent that the company was hemorrhaging money. The federal government was not the only entity loaning the company money. Private investors were also loaning money to the company. The Student Government Association elections were held last week. These elections determine the students' pick for senators. But do students really know what SGA does? I spoke to a few students and asked them what they think student government does and what they think they should do.
Student government is a student organization founded on Henderson campus as to give the student body a voice on campus.
Student government has a say in course requirements and course loads for every degree plan. The students get to vote if the professors want to make a change in the degree requirements.
I think student government addresses major issues about stuff on campus, different people address different things practically throughout the classes.
Ellis College is just one of the 3 colleges at Henderson. You have the School of Education, the business, and then Ellis College. So everything that falls under Ellis College is political science, biology, math, huge department. We basically are in charge of having a voice for all of the students that fall under that, our degrees, our requirements, and improving that. How can we improve Ellis College?
I don't know. All I heard is SGA. Is that the same thing? I guess they do organizations, they plan stuff, they have elections.
But what could make students become more active in SGA?
Advertise it a lot more and try to get the whole student body involved in it, not just a few select.
There are things that students want that they think SGA could help provide.
Improve the quality of campus by maybe pushing for more parking like we've been trying for forever now.
The SGA would like to see a more involved student body at their meetings.
Student government, all of the meetings are open to the student body. Any of the community that wants to come to our meetings, they are welcome to come. They cannot have a voting voice, but they can, object to something if they don't agree with it.
SGA is available to help students if they're experiencing problems. If you feel that you have a problem that your department senator might be able to help you with, feel free to contact them.
Thanks, Brooke. With the increased enrollment across campus, stress levels may also be on the rise. Our health reporter Kristen Hansen shares interesting facts about the effects of stress right after the break.
Is that alcohol?
Back to HTV News. College can be very overwhelming and stressful for many students. Our health reporter Kristen Hansen has information on how to deal with too much stress.
Thanks, Holly. Whether a freshman or a senior, HSU students can run into particularly stressful situations throughout the semester. For some, the first time being away from home can turn from a sought-after freedom into a confusing and difficult time. For others, preparing for graduation and new responsibilities of the real world can be intimidating. Stress is what a person feels when they take on more than they can handle. It's a normal reaction to high demands of everyday life. When a person feels stressed, the body reacts as if it's in danger. This reaction is known as the fight or flight response. Now, when a person feels stressed for too long or too often, it causes negative effects to the body. Counselors from the HSU Student Health and Counseling Center want to offer tips to students on how to minimize stress and manage the stress that's unavoidable.
A lot of it has to do with making the transition from high school to college, being able to cope with everyday issues without a parental figure being around.
They're expected to perform, at a certain level that, a lot of kids, like a lot of freshmen will come in and, a lot of them won't even make it through the first semester. And it's not the easiest thing to do to make it through college, and especially for a lot of the lower income ones, but those who can't get full scholarships, because they have to work. Some of them work full-time and take full-time classes.
Time management and stress and anxiety are very closely related because there's so many things going on. In high school, they may have had a bell system to let them know when to change classes. They may have had a 10-minute bell to let them know, the time they had between classes. But here they don't have any of those things. So they're having to learn how to manage their time, how to take care of everyday activities, including class and any extracurricular activities that they may be involved in. And a lot of them it takes time for them to learn to acquire those skills.
Some of the symptoms that stress can have on a person's body are headaches and stomach or chest pain, anxiety or panic attacks, irritability, trouble sleeping, sadness, or even depression.
A lot of students sometimes have coping strategies. Coping strategies help a lot if they have a way to relieve their stress. So sometimes it could be exercise, it can be music, it can be whatever they're into that allows them to relieve their stress. But if students don't feel like they have an outlet and they're holding on to the stress, then it's always good to go and talk to somebody.
Sometimes it is clear where the stress is coming from. People can count on stress during certain times of their life, like the death of a loved one. Other known causes to stress are being bullied or exposed to violence. Sometimes it's not clear where stress is coming from. Since everyone reacts to stress differently, it's important to know what the cause of stress is for you.
As a student at Henderson, the thing that stresses me out the most is just the time constraints that teachers put on you.
One thing that stresses me out is a lot of tests on the same day.
In high school, they kind of pay respect to each other class. Like, okay, we won't have tests today because you got an English test today, but now they don't care.
I really like my teachers, and when I don't do good on something or I don't get a deadline, I don't want to disappoint them, and it kind of stresses me out.
During lectures, when you can't write fast enough and they switch to the next slide.
I'm an English major, so they said that math and liberal arts would help me analyze the problems better and be able to further me my English stuff. I don't know if they lied to me or if they tricked me, but it's really hard.
All my teachers think that I should spend about 6 hours a week working on their class, but I have work and other classes to worry about.
First thing I mostly tell people is to breathe, because as anybody who ever gets stressed out notices, if they start thinking about something, that all of a sudden they'll go, oh yeah, I need to breathe. So I tell them that they need to breathe. And also I like to ask about sleep, because honestly the #1 thing that keeps people stress-free and depression-free is getting enough sleep. And it's hard to do that in college, especially if you live in a dorm.
You can learn to cope with it, but you can also learn how to react to it differently. There's some things that we consider stressful because the way we perceive them. So if we can change our thoughts, we can change our actions. So when dealing with stress and anxiety, if you work on the way your outlook on things and your thought process, and if you can stop it at the thought process and catch yourself and see what mistake you're making there, then a lot of times you can change the behavior that you respond to the stress.
Stress is something that everyone has to deal with at some point in their lives. If you have symptoms of stress, taking steps to manage it can be both mentally and physically beneficial. Stress management is not a cure, but with practice, you can learn to control your stress level and increase your ability to cope with life's challenges. Back to you, Holly.
Thanks, Kristen. When we come back, I'll tell you what famous author made his way to campus. We'll be right back. HTV News. Ishmael Bay made his way to campus this week to speak to students about his book, A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Boy Soldier. He tells his own story of being a 12-year-old soldier during the Civil War in Sierra Leone. After being released from the Army, Bay made it to New York City, where he lived with a foster mother. Time magazine nominated Bay's book as one of the top 10 nonfiction books of 2007. It was also nominated for a Quill Award. That's all the news we have for today. You can give us your feedback on news we cover or you would like to see us cover on our Henderson Television Facebook and Twitter pages. Be sure to tune in next week for the latest on your Henderson Reddies. I'm Holly Carter.